Great. How about you? Good.
Make your thoughts on what you've seen out of the quarterbacks so far.
What we've seen out of the quarterbacks is, I think Josh Dobbs, has started strong, and he's doing some really good things out there. And also, I really see him. He's really improved his leadership as well. So, like his start. Quentin Dormady, likewise. I mean, this is his second year in the offense, so he's obviously, ahead of where he was last year and performing very well. And then Sharon Jones has gotten a few reps, and he continues to learn because, he didn't get a lot of reps last year. And then Jarrett Garantano has come in, and it's a learning process for him. He wasn't here in the spring, and so every day is a learning situation for him. And but he has shown that he's obviously very athletic, and he's got a really strong arm.
You mentioned Dobbs and his leadership. I guess how specifically? Obviously, that's been one of his strengths always. What's different about him now? What does he do now that he hasn't done before?
Well, I think before he was always, in some ways, hesitant to bring the team up or the offense up, whatever. And he might go around and talk to guys individually or talk to the group, receiver-wise, whatever. But he never really did it too much as a unit. So, like after yesterday's practice, he brought the unit up. So I just see him really taking control.
You said in the spring that one way for Dobbs to improve his accuracy was to improve the footwork. Have you seen better footwork from him?
Yes, and when I talk about that part of it, in today's football, you don't see a lot of times guys just go back and drop back and throw the ball right away because of the superior talent on defense and the rush and all the blitzing and things like that. So, a quarterback has to learn obviously to step up, sidestep, scramble, all those things. And so therefore, every throw is different. One time he might be here, the next time he might be over there, and so it's just all that goes into it. So, but he's obviously improved.
Is Jared kind of a typical freshman, or is he maybe a little bit more advanced than some of the freshmen that you coached?
I think it's a hard question when you say typical. I think he's really smart, and he is studying it, and again, we've only had 2 practices, so I'm happy with where he's at, and he'll just continue to learn and get better as we go through this.
What you said of Jared over the course of the summer, Mike, especially when you could have those couple hours a week with him.
Well, we can't be out there with them when they're throwing.
Right.
So you really can't see a lot. It's kind of limited that way. But you could obviously tell, when we work some technique stuff, he's athletic, got quick feet, and all those kind of things. But these last 2 practices, the first 2, we've been able to watch him throw.
Coach, with the offensive line, how would you and Coach Mahoney manage just the depth that you have there, reps and things? It seems like you have a pretty good problem compared to last year with the bodies.
Yeah, Don, we talk about that before every practice. We go through it, and he'll say, here's my thoughts with rotating guys today. So every practice has a plan, where we're rotating guys around and getting guys reps. So we did that last year too. I thought he did a great job of that.
And can you speak about left tackle, just the competition there between Drew and Brett, and how you see that as camp starts?
Well, I don't look at it as just competition at left tackle. I look at it as, we're going to play the 5 best, and Brett is also moving over to right tackle and working over there, competing over there, and Brett works inside too, So we're going to end up with the 5 best guys, and so whoever that is, we'll play those 5 best. When you ask about left tackle, though, the 2 guys that are rotating over there right now would be, Drew and Brett. So, but Drew never leaves there, whereas Brett does. And Brett can do that because of his knowledge, his experience, and all that. So that's why he's able to do that.
Coach, you had a lot of success last year, but how would this offense maybe look a little different this year in its personality? Do you have any anticipation, any minor changes?
Well, yeah, but, I got to protect our guys, our players, and our program and everything else, and can't, talk too much about that. But I will just say that, every year teams look at that, every team I've ever been around, coached with, program, you always evaluate what you've done well, maybe how you might put a little wrinkle in here or there, or new plays you're going to add. So, we've done the same thing that way.
There's the three of those newcomers in the receiver made a couple of those early in practice. practice last night, some one-on-one stuff. What have you seen from each of those freshmen and some of those newcomers that were on that?
Well, first of all, I want to compliment all the freshmen, and we were talking about this as coaches last night and this morning, but our style of play is different. And what I mean by that is, you know, you don't see guys out there jogging around and when they're in a play. I mean, it's full speed, and if they're on the backside of a play, they're sprinting across the field to go get a block, things like that. And this group, and I'm not just talking about the freshman receivers, the entire freshman group has really picked up our style of play fast. And I think it's a compliment to our older guys who are showing them that. But, you know, those guys have really stepped up, you know, and they're learning every day. They're learning new plays. They got new plays day one, new plays day two. Guess what? Today, new plays. So they're just going through that learning curve. But I really like their focus. I like the way they practice, and you know, we'll see how it all plays out in the end.
Do you like the variety you have there with
Sure.
some guys like Tyler and other
Sure.
guys like Jeff? And Brandon
Yeah.
on that side?
Yeah, and that's, you know, we're just going to have to find out where guys fit the best, you know, and that's what we're going through right now. Like we talked about with the offensive line, you do it at all positions, really, you know. We're doing it with the receivers, tight ends, you know, who are we going to play there, you know? So that's what training camp's all about.
Mike,
What
what
about-
about the offensive linemen? How many offensive linemen?
Sounds like a mumble jumble in here now.
How many offensive linemen do you think could play multiple positions?
I don't know that yet. I really don't. We're moving a lot of guys around. We're trying not to move the young guys too much, whereas the older guys we are. So, but that's yet to be determined. I mean, I couldn't really tell you right now.
Coach, have you ever had a utility guy? I mean, have you ever, you know, I guess, played 6 guys on purpose to give guys a break up front on the offensive line? Is that something you have any interest in?
Haven't done that. You know, again, and whenever we've played that 6th guy or whatever, sometimes it's been, you know, injuries, things like that. But never have really never rotated too much there. I think that, you know, and we talked about it a lot, but when you get those 5 guys where they can really play together a lot, then, you know, the communication and the technique and all that stuff, they're used to working to that guy beside them. So I think that's important.
Mike, go back to
Because
what you
it's
said
year
earlier.
2 for you, because it's year 2 for you, and you bring so many guys back, does it change the pace that you can do stuff during camp? Does it change how much volume of stuff you can do going into the season?
It really, that doesn't like affect me. I think it's more like the players, you know, how much the players can take and gain and all that. And we've got, as everybody knows, we've got older guys, so we've thrown quite a bit at them in these first 2 days. And, you know, and the young guys are the guys that you have to also keep an eye on because you can't let them get behind. So it's kind of a, you know, something we talk about every day as a staff. And I think the easiest thing for me in year 2 compared to 1 is knowing everybody, knowing our guys. I mean, and our guys know me. I mean, I said this yesterday to somebody that, you know, like if Jalen Hurd wants to do something, like he's going to come in my office and ask, you know. Same thing with Alvin or Josh Dobbs or, you know, anybody. Just they can walk in my office and feel like they can talk to me. Whereas, you know, year 1, they don't know what I'm going to say or do or whatever. So I just think it's, you know, the relationship and you know, it's very good that way.
To go back to what you said about the tackles, do you guys view Chance Hall as a right side guy at this point? And when you say you've been keeping the younger guys at one spot, so you've been sort of keeping him over there?
Well, starting out, that's where he's starting, but, you know, we're not going to limit him to that. So, but to start out, yes. But,
Do you see him be a part of the left tackle discussion eventually?
well, that would all depend upon, you know, sometimes, you know, guys move because of injuries. And so if something happened where we had to move him over there, then we would. But right now, he's competing at right
With
on
the
the right
three,
side.
sorry, with the 3 freshmen you brought in, Nate, Ryan, Marcus, all longer guys, do you see them all developing as tackles, or can 1 or 2 of them slide inside?
That's a good question. I think that, you know, right now we're looking at them outside, but very well, you know, and again, we haven't had pads on. I mean, it's hard to measure alignment at all, or anybody really, football-wise, until you start putting pads on. And so we'll have the uppers on today, and we'll know a little bit more about those guys. But as we continue to go through, we're just going to, you know, learn more about them, what they can do, where their strengths are, and then, you know, we'll play them to their strengths. So, you know, if a guy plays better inside than he does outside, then we would do that. So, but right now they're all on the outside because that's the toughest, you know, to start off with. So we'll start moving them inside after that.
All right, thank you very much.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you, everybody. Yep.